Alright, today we'll implement the concept of dynamic data masking, which is available in Azure SQL Database. So we'll create the architecture diagram straight from the scratch. That is, even if you don't have any experience or have just signed into the Azure portal, do not worry, I'll guide you step by step just like a beginner, right? So let's begin with the tutorial. So let's first start by creating one Azure SQL server and the database. So I've already signed into the Azure portal. So it should look something like this. If you have recently used SQL database, should appear here. Otherwise you can also search here SQL database, so it should appear here. So either way it should work. So once we are done, we can next click on create SQL database, this button. So let's proceed with creating one database. So since our resources will reside one resource group, we need to select one resource group. Then we need to enter one database name. Let's mention it Cloud Guru Amit DB. This looks good. Next, since there are no servers, we need to create one server from the scratch, because a database will reside inside a server, right? So let's click on create new. Let's give a server name Cloud Guru Amit server. It should be somewhat unique, otherwise you won't get the green verified mark. All looks good. We got the green verified marks, looks good. Now we can select use both intra only authentication or SQL server only. So this looks good to us, but if you see here set Microsoft intra admin, we need to set an admin as well. So we can use both SQL and Microsoft intra authentication. Intra was previously known as Azure AD. So let's create one credential. Like we can create a credential like admin DBA, then give one password, though this won't be required for our case here, but still I'm creating one so that we can use both SQL and this. Since it is a star mark, we need to select an admin, and admin will be our username. So let's select the admin and make our user as the admin. Alright, after we are done with the selecting the admin, click on OK. Looks good to us. Then we have the networking tab. We can configure here as well, or in the next step as well, right? So let's select some of the basic parts as well before proceeding. Like we don't need a production, we need development. Next we need to select the storage. Let's select maybe we can go for basic for less demanding workloads. This looks good. We can also go for any other depending upon the size or the service tier which we want, right? So let's go for basic for now. Select apply. For redundancy, I've created locally redundant. This also looks good. Next we have the networking tab. So here we need to enable public endpoint, otherwise we won't be able to use the SQL console from the portal. So we need to select yes. There is also a hard way, but I'm doing the easy way because the tutorial is more about the dynamic data masking and not about these things. So allow, let's select on yes. Let's go down. This looks good to me. Let's proceed. Everything looks good to me. We can now click on review and create. Let's click on the create button. Alright, our deployment is in progress. It takes around 5 minutes to get completed. So till then I can walk you through the commands for dynamic data masking, what we are doing, so that later when the server is ready or the database is ready, we can directly fire it, right? So first we need to create one schema, because our tables will reside inside one schema, right? So we'll create one schema named data. Then we need to create one table. We'll create name it as Cloud Guru Amit, the table name. We have the DDL ready for it. Next, inside the table Cloud Guru Amit will insert some dummy values where we have, let's say, some PII data like email and these things. So that is our motive, basically to mask these things, right? Sensitive or PII information like birth date and all these. So next there's a one demonstration for service table as well. Like we'll create a different schema for service table which is named as service. There again we'll be doing the same thing, that is basically creating one table, then inserting some dummy values in it, just like the previous step, Cloud Guru Amit table, right? Next we'll create different users. So here lies the magic. Dynamic data masking, we know, like let's say user 1 is able to see the entire email, but for user 2 it might be only maybe just cloudguruamit.com or the last step.com. We can use regex or anything to tailor as per our requirement. All right, so we are will be creating different users to test the functionality of it. Then we'll be granting the roles for different users which we have created in the previous step. Next we need to give the unmask command, so like which users will have relief on the PI data, like who can basically see the data, right? That was some we need to apply. Next we need to change the user. After we are done with the applying these policies and all, then we'll execute become different user, right? Execute user as and check what service attendant for this one is able to see the data from Cloud Guru Amit table, then feedback table, right? So we'll be doing some experimentation for different users which we have created, like 4 users we have created, right? And after we are done, we can also unmask or revoke the masking part as well. So we have the syntax for it as well. So I hope you got all the commands now ready. So we are done with the deployment is complete. So let's go to the resource, that is our basically this is our database. So we have here the query editor. Let's go to the query editor. So let's log in, right? We have the SQL Server authentication, but as mentioned, like it was optional, we can use both Microsoft Entra and SQL Server. So let's begin with the commands now. Let's create one schema first. Let's paste it. Yeah, allow, let's run. Success, right? We'll create different query for different tabs basically. Let's fire this command now. Let's run it. So this will basically create one table named Cloud Guru Amit. So let's expand and check. Yeah, we got under the data is our schema and Cloud Guru Amit is our table name. So schema.table name, right? So that is what it goes basically. Next we have need to insert some values into it, that is the table. And next let's open a new tab, paste it and run it. So technically now if we run one select star on this table, so this value should basically be displayed now. So let's select top 10 rows. I've done top 10. Definitely there are not 1000 values there rows, but yeah, we can see the values. But please note now the values, these are not currently masked and all, right? So after masking, putting the commands, it should be definitely be masked. So we'll be creating a different service as well. Let's paste it, run it, and repeat these steps, like create another table for it, new query. Let's paste it, run it. Let's insert some dummy values into this table, just like the previous step. Let's paste it, the values got inserted. So next step, like we are creating different users, right? Now let's go ahead creating these users. Let's paste it, run it, success. Now we need to grant read permissions at least for the users so that they can use select star and all these things, right? Let's click on new query, paste it. Yeah, it's success. Now let's this is the main thing, like granting the unmask thing. So here goes our basically the logic part as well, like who can see what, right? So please do not miss this step, otherwise you might not be able to see the masking and all. So now we are almost done. So we'll become one user, let's say service attendant. This was created by us in our previous step. If you go up, right, create user service attendant. So this is one of the users which we have created. So let's try to query like what the service attendant can check. Let's go back, create new query. So now basically it will become interesting. Let's execute this. So if you check now, the magic of dynamic data masking you'll be able to experience. If you check, the service attendant cannot see the values of email. Phone numbers are also masked, right? And date of birth is giving the default values. If you check, like 1900 and something. Interesting, right? So let's check what service attendant can do or see on the service feedback as well. So here a service attendant can see the entire thing. So let me for this reference, let's focus on only one table. Let's say Cloud Guru Amit, and check what different users can see, because if I mix two tables together, it can be like difficult to understand what the data masking concept I'm using. Now I'm becoming service lead to check what the service lead can see. So service lead can see, if you check, the email looks intact. If you look, email they can view, date of birth also can, birthday can also view, but phone number, if you look, it's also I think service lead can check. So let's open new query and check what other users can see, like the service manager and all. Let's copy it and let's see the magic what this user can see. Let's execute this command. So if we look the service manager here and compare with the service lead, they can see the values of phone number, email, date of birth. These were the API information. Let's open the last query, that is the service head. This is like one of the topmost position or the managerial position. So technically I believe the service head can see everything. Let's execute it. So if you look, yeah, service head can also see, right, everything. If we compare, almost same data they can view. Only for service attendant, if you look, the masking policies are applied here. The phone number, email and birthday are masked. So the concept of data masking, let me put in a nutshell. It's something like the same query, if you look, I'm running right here and here. Only difference is between the users. Here service lead can check everything, but service attendant, if you look, cannot see the PI information, what is masked. So that is known as dynamic data masking, where different users can view different things. So there is also one concept of dynamic data masking. This is one hidden concept. If you look under security, here dynamic data masking, let's click on OK and remove all this, because the concept is clear. So if we apply or check here, we have all these columns where the masking what things are done. If we open edit masking rule, you'll find padding, string, expose, suffix. So these options are there for us. Next, we can also design or add mask by using add mask. We need to select schema. Which schema we need to select, then the table name, then the column name. Right, let's say the last name what you want to. There are also some like masking field format for default values like credit card, debit card, email. These things we can do, and custom prefix padding we can also do. So this is one of the option. If you don't if you're not comfortable very much with the SQL command, just like what I have done here, you can also use the interface for portal and make a use of this. So let's go back to the architecture diagram and brush up what we have done. So we have successfully created SQL server database inside it. And then we have basically created some schema there, then the tables, put some dummy values, created some users, then we have applied some masking policies, who can see what, and finally we have checked or queried the data in the portal, like the different users are showing different things. Right. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. So thank you so much for watching this video. All right, let's look at this question. So always mark the keyword. It will help you arrive at the correct answer easily, because by marking the keyword, we get to know what the question is actually asking us. So let's look at option A and D together. A says on-premises data gateway. D says data management gateway. So both option A and D, on-premises data gateway and data management gateway, is used for on-premises data sources and not for Azure SQL Database as required by the question. Therefore, these two are out. Let's move to option B. B says managed private endpoint. So managed private endpoint allows secure and private access to Azure SQL Database, that is Cloud Source 7, without exposing it to the public internet. So this can be the potential answer. Let's move to option C. C says integration runtime. Integration runtime is used for data integration, as the name suggests, integration, right? So it's used for data integration and transformation, but it does not provide secure access to Azure SQL Database. What we need as per the question, if we read here, right, securely access Azure SQL Database. So wrong answer. We'll lock option B as the correct answer. Okay, so we got to choose the correct role based on the principle of least privilege. So this is a very important topic if you want to transition as like data architect or solution architect in later stages, and also like if you're the leading the team. then you should know this like what access or what role is required for whom. Let's look at option E. It says workspace administrator. Workspace admin role manages workspaces, as the name suggests, workspaces, but does not have permission to create domains and subdomains as required by the question. That being said, option A is out. Let's move to option B. B says domain administrator. Domain admin role allows the user to create domains and subdomains and assign workspaces to them while adhering to the principle of least privilege. Let's park this. We'll move to option C. C says domain contributor. Domain contributor role can contribute to existing domains but cannot create new domains or subdomains. What's required by the question. Therefore, incorrect choice. Let's move to option D. D says fabric administrator. So fabric admin role has broader administrative permissions than necessary, which will violate the principle of least privilege. What's required by the question. That being said, option D is out. We'll lock option B as the correct answer, that is domain administrator. Let's bring the heat to the snow. So this is all about workspace role. Again, we got like similar type of like question which will test your concepts on principle of least privilege. We'll look at option E. It says admin. So admin or administrator role provides more permissions than necessary, violating the principle of least privilege. So option A is incorrect. Let's move to option B. B says member. Member role allows viewing and contributing to workspace but does not provide the necessary permissions to update tables in warehouse alpha. What's required by the question. Therefore, we'll reject this. We'll move to option C. C says viewer. So viewer role only allows viewing items and does not provide permissions to update tables. We'll reject this. Let's move to option D. D says contributor. So contributor role allows user X to view all items in workspace alpha and update the tables in workspace alpha, adhering to the principle of least privilege. That being said, contributor is the correct answer. Alrighty, so this is quite a brainstorming question because we need to prevent users from accessing other items in workspace alpha. We'll look at option E. A says share lakehouse alpha with user X directly and select read all SQL endpoint data. So this option provides user X with read access to the table data in lakehouse alpha without granting access to other items in workspace alpha or allowing to use Apache Spark. Looks good because that's what is required by the question as well. Let's park this. We'll move to option B. B says assign user X the viewer role for workspace alpha, share lakehouse alpha with user X and select read all SQL endpoint data. So this option grants user X access to all items in workspace alpha, which violates the requirement to prevent access to other items. Therefore, wrong answer. Let's move to option C. C says share lakehouse alpha with user X directly and select build reports on the default semantic model. So this option does not provide the necessary read access to the table data in lakehouse alpha. So incorrect choice. Let's move to option D. D says assign user X the member role for workspace alpha, share lakehouse alpha with user X and select read all SQL endpoint data. This option grants user X more permission than necessary, violating the principle of least privilege again. So therefore, wrong answer. We'll lock option E as the correct answer. Alright, now so let's look at this question. This is about consolidating the underlying Parquet files. Well, look at option E. E says vacuum. So vacuum command removes old files that are no longer in use, but it does not consolidate files as required by the question. So wrong answer. Let's move to option B. B says broadcast. Broadcast command is used to broadcast a small data frame to all worker nodes and not for consolidating files. Again, wrong choice. Let's move to option C. C says optimize. So optimize command is used to consolidate small files into larger ones, improving query performance and reducing number of files in a delta table. So let's park this. We'll move to option D. D says cache or cache. Cache command caches the data frame in memory for faster access, but again does not consolidate files. Therefore, wrong option will reject this. We'll lock option C as the correct answer. So please don't go away. Please check it out. Our courses, more courses on Udemy channel. Exclusive courses are there where you will find valuable courses related to your career path. Also, you can check it out our YouTube playlist section where we have tons of series which will help you without the hands-on as well as practice test to solidify your knowledge, and you can apply them in your IT projects.